So as we inch towards 2014, we have also come to the end as well as or the concluding chapter of Race is Over, What's Next. For the past 4 weeks or so, I've been sharing with you guys on what happens after your major race. How do you recover and how do you prepare for the year ahead? Last week, I talked about the remaining components that make up the smarter approach, and I ended off teaching all of you some simple daily steps that you can use in your training, in particular the association and the disassociation techniques. So as promised in part 5 of the entire series, we are going to look ahead on starting 2014 on the right foot. Things that you can do to be mindful about to make sure 2014 and next year you're starting off at the right point. Now, pardon my voice a bit. I'm having a bit of a flu bug that's making my voice sounds muffled. So we have come across news, thank God, only occasionally, once in the blue moon, of runners having a cardiac arrest and subsequently passing on during an endurance race, regardless is it the half marathon, marathon, or 10K. There will also be times whereby halfway or somewhat through our training, we suffer a musculoskeletal injury. Could be knee pain, hip injury, ankle sprain, etc. So the purpose of this last portion is to really share with you how to go about training and racing safely. That before all these issues can happen, you have already done preventive measures to prevent them from happening, in fact. So the first thing that we want to look at is really your health issue. Take a look at this form here, question 1 to 7. Now, if you answer yes to question 1, I repeat, if you answer yes to question 1, I would strongly recommend you to immediately consult your family doctor or cardiologist before you even think of engaging in any training. Now, if you have no issues with question 1, then look at question 2 to 7. If you answer yes to any of the questions from question 2 to 7, each yes represent one risk factor. Now, if you're for male, if you're 45 years or older, women, if you're 55 years or older, that will represent one risk factor as well. I want you to remember that from question 2 to question 7. Did you answer any yes? For any yes that you answer, that represent one risk factor for each yes. So let's take a look at your risk level. Are you low risk, moderate risk, or high risk? These are risk stratification levels for cardiovascular diseases. So if you answer only one yes, or you have zero risk factors, zero yes, you're fine. You don't need a exercise test, graded treadmill test to see if you have any issue. Now, if you answer two or more yes, making you a moderate risk factor, I would strongly encourage you to get a health screening done before engaging yourself in any vigorous form of training or racing. And of course, if you answer yes to question 1, meaning you have a known cardiac disease, please get yourself cleared by your physician or your cardiologist before engaging in training. When I talk about health screening, it goes beyond just a resting ECG. A lot of times, resting ECG is unable to detect any hidden cardiac issue that occurs during exercise. You need things like a graded treadmill test, or if need be, or even a 2D echo. So if you need all these tests to be done, I would strongly advise you to visit your sports physician at the sports medicine unit of your hospital. Places like Changi Sports Medicine Center, Tan Tock Seng Sports Medicine, Khoo Teck Puat Sports Medicine Centre. These are just some of the sports medicine centres out there in restructured public hospitals that you can consult in Singapore. Now that we have settled the health part, the next thing that I want to look at is this thing called prehabilitation. Now, prevention is better than cure. Prehab or prehabilitation should always be your primary goal before you start any structured training program. Generally, the purpose of prehab is to minimize the risk of any injury occurring during your training. And what really happens during prehab is that either a sports physiotherapist or strength conditioning specialist would actually do a full assessment of three things mainly: your flexibility, your proprioception, as well as your strength. So from these three areas, we'll see what's lacking and from there prescribe training program to manage your deficit so that these areas, once managed, will minimize any probability of injury during your training. So what generally are these three things we are talking about? Flexibility, essentially, we want to see that your muscle and your joint, they are able to maintain a good range of motion to allow maximum stride length when you run. Proprioception is the one that is less understood, but I'll illustrate this in the next slide with diagrams. But generally, proprioception, we're looking at your coordination, your balance, and your control. How well balanced or how stable you are when you are on unstable ground, on single leg, etc. Strength, essentially, any strength test, we want to close the gap between any muscular imbalance. So we tend to perform strength tests on your lower limb to see if there's any deficit. If there is, we'll prescribe a program to manage the deficit or that particular muscle group. So this is what proprioception basically is like. We'll get you to do things like standing on your single leg and see how long you can balance yourself. Then after which, move you single leg onto an unstable surface. If you're still able to do it, make you close your eyes. Still able to do it, close your eyes and move your body parts, etc. and see how well you can balance yourself. This is especially very important, especially for runners who enjoy racing and training in the trail, because in your mountainous trail, in your off-road terrain, the ground is unstable. If you have very poor proprioception, you are risking yourself a lot of times, mainly for ankle sprain. So this is one area that's often neglected by runners and should be looked at during your prehab testing lah. So if you're done with prehab, you're pretty much fine. Your flexibility, your proprioception, your strength is essentially quite balanced. You are keen to engage in a strength program to complement your running, or maybe a strength program as a form of cross training. I want you to know that strength training, don't associate strength training with lifting heavy plates in the gym. Think beyond the gym, that resistance training should not be confined only to the dumbbells and machine in your gym. As runners, when you are just starting out with your strength program, you can actually use a variety of tools such as your own body weights, your TheraBands, which is your resistance band. Look at the picture on the right. Medicine ball in the middle for all your exercises as well. The advantages of such are that this methods are cheap yet effective. You don't have to sign up for a 2-year gym membership. You don't have some people calling you every day asking you, sir, you want to sign up for a gym membership? No. You can essentially do all this at home, and that they actually encourage creativity for different type of exercises. And especially for people who have never been to gym, you find that going to the gym to see big pieces of meat walking around can be quite intimidating. Home exercises using all these apparatus will help you manage your issue of going to the gym. And especially when it rains, all these tools and exercises, strength exercises done at home can still continue to be carried out. No more excuse for not doing strength work. You will see that I'm not able to run through a very comprehensive portion or talk on strength training because it's impossible to cover strength training in a matter of 10 minutes. Strength training, usually when I talk about strength training, it takes me 1.5 hours, 2 sessions. So this is just a brief sharing that strength training can exist outside the gym for those who are not familiar. Now, like perhaps most of you might know, the Twilight Ultra Challenge early bird registration closes tomorrow evening, tomorrow night, in fact, at 23:59 hours. So early bird price is $70. If you miss the early bird registration, the price goes up to $90. So remember to sign up by tomorrow 2359 latest, and all participants will get a complimentary 9-ounce foldable cup. And that's it. I hope that you guys and girls have enjoyed this series of Race is Over What's Next that I've been dishing out for the past few weeks. As we step into 2014, tomorrow being the last day of 2013, my team at Running Guild would like to wish all runners Happy New Year. Have a great 2014 in your run. Continue to dream for personal best. Believe that you can achieve your personal best, and finally achieving it on that race of your desire. Thank you so much, and I look forward to share with you in my next series of talk. Bye bye.